Namaste, everyone. This is going to be our gentle and restorative practice for this week, which is the beginning of April. And what I want to mention today, before we get started, is this idea of practicing silence. I will say that during my years of teaching yoga, I've had different students ask me what is the purpose of observing silence. In fact, years ago in our first ever uh, half moon yoga studio that we used to have, the original location, I had prepared a retreat, a weekend retreat at St. Mary's. And St. Mary's is down in Sewanee, Tennessee, between Nashville and Chattanooga. And I wanted to do a silent retreat. And obviously, I was going to be going and I was going to be holding space and I was going to be giving journaling prompts and teaching yoga and doing meditations. But we were also going to be going on hikes and obviously having meals together in silence. And several people kind of pushed back regarding why I was trying to create the silent retreat. So I was trying to explain to people that I go on a silent retreat every year at a monastery and how profound silence can be, and that meditation is sitting and listening to God, whereas prayer is sitting and talking or pleading or asking God for guidance. So sorry, I'm getting distracted. My son's school's trying to call. Sorry about that. And so this past week, when I took a group to Peru, it was actually a ritual retreat, not a yoga retreat, because I knew that we were going to be bouncing around from town to town and hotel to hotel, and we might not have a space to congregate for yoga. Even though the last hotel we were able to do that because they had a yoga studio. But I was sitting with one of the girls that I'd never met before. She was another yoga teacher who teaches at different locations than I do. And we had actually never physically met. And so when we first arrived to Peru and we were on the bus, we sat next to each other and we were just getting to know each other. And she was mentioning that she had gone on a retreat out west with one of the teachers that I had trained. And she was saying one of the most difficult things about the whole retreat was practicing silence from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. Now, that was only silence at 10 p.m. at night to 8 a.m. in the morning. And she said she had trouble with it because they were staying in a house together. And of course, in the mornings when they would get up to go get their coffee or tea in the kitchen, it was really hard for her not to smile and speak and ask someone, how you doing? Good morning. Did you sleep well? And she wanted to upstart the chatter right away. And she was like, that was so hard. And so I was laughing and I was telling her, I was like, yeah, well, that's what they had to do during teacher training. You know, during teacher training, when we would stay at a house, we would practice these quiet hours. And I said, usually when I rent a house for retreats, I do the same thing. And I just thought it was so interesting that this person found just those short amount of hours really hard to practice silence. So I thought I would bring that up today because I think it is important that we practice silence at a personal level and collectively when you are gathered with people. Because as any relationship should be, there should be talking, but there should also be a space that's held in reverence and silence. And the last thing I'll say is last week, we had kind of uh, plans every single day of the retreat. And when we were leaving Machu Picchu and heading to Cusco, the next 2 days were going to be full of activity as well. And I noticed when we got on the bus, or right before we got on the bus, there was a little bit of snippiness going on. You could tell people were maybe tapped out, energetically drained. We were just done for the day. And when we got on that last bus ride to Cusco, literally everything fell silent. Everybody just held their tongue and literally for like 2.5 hours. So I made up my mind on that ride. I got to feel the energy of the space. And we are going to take a rest day tomorrow, and we're just going to scrap what we had planned for the next day so that everybody could just sleep in, rejuvenate, replenish, go to a yoga class if they wanted to, explore the town if they wanted to, get a spa treatment if they wanted to, instead of climbing another mountain. And it was really the best decision I think I made all last week, to give everybody that downtime. And that's what I want you to look at this practice as for. We're going to start off in a chair, and we'll do some breath work and movement. And then we're going to move. I don't know if you can see, but I've got the mat kind of close to the wall. We're going to use the wall for some poses. And then we're going to restore and just snip it, just get quiet. Okay, let's begin. I'll meet you on the chair. So let's come to a comfortable seat where your feet are actually resting flat on a surface. Now, I said surface, so if you're short legged or your chair is sitting up high and it's too much to have your feet on the floor, scoot to the edge like I am, or build up a blanket or put a bolster or blocks beneath your feet. And then allow your spine to grow upward, and close and rest your eyes. Start to breathe in a way that's more under your control. And purposely increasing that intake of oxygen into your lungs. Freely allowing that breath to escape when it's ready. Notice even at the end of your next out breath, if you pull the navel in more, you may be able to express some more air out. Let your awareness ride the wave of the breath. Opening it up fully and completely. And then begin to open up your eyes, and you're going to hook your arms into the eagle position. So intertwining from your elbows up to your hands. Keeping the elbows as high as your sternum. So the upper arms are parallel to your lap and the ground. Breathing into the upper back, into the back of the shoulder blades. And on your next out breath, release the hands apart. Hook your right arm underneath, and then just gently pull the left arm across your chest. Breathing in and out through the nose, and it's okay for it to be audible like a whisper. And then release. All right. We're going to hook the arms the opposite way than before for Garudasana, the eagle arms. Just keeping both feet flat on the surface. Upper arms parallel to the ground. Breathing into the upper back, into the back of the shoulder blades. And then as you release, your left arm's going to hook underneath your right, and you're gently hugging it in. You can use your hand or you can just use the hook. Either way is fine. And then gently release your hands down. Now, depending on what kind of chair, like if you're sitting in like a card table chair or like a kitchen or dining room chair, you might be able to hold the bottom of the seat. I'm basically just going to have my hands resting here. But we're going to lift the right arm skyward and we're going to curve over to that side. Bring it back up and release it down. Inhale, the left arm lifts. Curve over to the other side. Both sits bones still resting on the furniture. Both feet still flat to the floor. Knees stay narrow and parallel. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, release the arm down. Holding onto your knees. As you inhale, draw the shoulders back, protrude the chest forward, and lift and open your throat. And then as you exhale, pull back in your belly and chest and bow your head. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. This is another good reason to sit towards the seat of the chair, towards the edge, because when you're rolling back to cat stretch, you'll have some space to do this with. Last one. Now take your hands behind you, lean back, and prop your left ankle over the right knee, and then sit back up. If you have any challenge or difficulty with this knee, you're going to cup up underneath it with your hand and elevate it. If you're not having any problem or unusual sensation, go ahead and fold, keeping your spine elongated, receiving this nice hip stretch here. Inhale, slowly come up. Take your hands down to the seat of the chair. Lift that knee. Extend your leg forward and out. If possible, see if you have enough strength and flexibility to keep the legs somewhat side by side. Find whatever activity you need to with your foot. So maybe it feels stronger with the toes pointed. You might feel stronger with your ankle flexed or somewhere in between. I kind of went somewhere in between. Keep your heart elevated. Good. Exhale, release. All right, second side. It's okay to lean back to prop the right ankle over the left knee and then sit up nice and tall. Again, check in. If you need to cradle the knee, go ahead. Otherwise, start to hinge and fold. And even if it felt good here, but now you're hinging and folding and you feel a little twinge, then maybe cup, cradle, lift it. Try not to push it down. It's okay for the hand to be here. Just don't push it because you don't want to interfere with the labrum at the hip. Now come up. Your hands can go beside you, the knee, and separate that foot away and extend the leg out. So this is very similar to Padangusthasana D when we're standing, balancing on one foot and extending the leg. This just takes the balance piece out of the equation. We're going to do two more with the chair before we come to the mat. Good. And release. All right, so I may not be mirroring you, okay? So my right leg is going to turn, and it's going to hook over the side of the chair so that the left knee can hang down. And I will say the left side of my seat is kind of hanging off the edge of the chair. I'm going to keep the toes tucked because that's going to give me more stability. And then I'm going to turn into a twist. So you can hold the back of the chair, wind yourself around. Good, release. And then lift the arms up. Arms framing the face. Bring the hands down a moment and see if you can stretch that left leg back like you would in a crescent lunge. Square your hips. Breathe here. Right. And then we'll turn. So the left leg is hanging off one side, and the right toes are tucked, and that knee can just kind of hang and hover. It doesn't necessarily have to touch the floor. We'll take that twist first. So twisting around to your left. Coming back, lifting the arms up. Hands down. Step that foot back. Stretch through that back leg. Open up this iliopsoas muscle, and you're welcome to take the hands to the hips. You're just barely sitting on the chair here, but using it for support. And then exhale, step that foot forward. And then we'll come out of the chair. We're gonna do the wall push. So I'll have my back turned to you. Your hands are basically in front of your chest, shoulder distance apart. And then step back with your feet. Lining ankles up underneath your knees. Slightly turn your left foot out. Walk your right leg forward. And so both legs are straight, but square your hips, face the wall. Take your hands up the wall and then lean forward over the front leg. Cup your right hand, stack to the fingertips. Take the left arm down to your right thigh. Drop your head and look up underneath the right arm. Unwind from that. Lunge the right knee and lift the hands away from the wall so that you're doing warrior one. Hands flat to the surface. Step the right foot back. Turn your left foot. Do that wall push. Very similar to downward facing dog. Now a gentle variation of the pyramid, turning your right toe slightly out, stepping your left foot forward close to the wall. Walk your hands up, square your hips, and lean forward. Really stretching the calf muscles here. Cup your left hand. Take your right arm down to your left thigh. Drop your head, look up underneath the left arm. A gentle wall variation of revolving triangle. Unhook the right arm. Walk the hands down. Lunge the left knee. Erect the spine. Arms free up for warrior one. Again, feel your back calf muscles. They're receiving a lot of stretch, a lot of circulation, a lot of attention in these few standing poses. Bring the hands down and do the next wall push. And then walk your feet forward and spin around. We're going to have the feet just a few inches away from the wall so that we can lean the butt to the wall. Now, you might need blocks and a bolster. You could even pull that chair in front of you, or you might be able to hinge and bow and rest your third eye on one or more of the props. And if you don't want to use the props, you can just use the wall and then hang the rest of the upper body free. We're going to do one more active pose before we take more of the restful positions. So if you move those props to the side and just cautiously come down to your knees and walk out on your hands to table. We're going to shift that left foot to the side to extend the right leg and plant the foot on the wall. Left hand is set underneath the shoulder, and then we're going to sweep the right arm skyward. So this is one of those positions where sometimes I'll say you can keep your foot to the floor or you can lift and hover it. Here, you can just use the wall to press into, and that will give you the stability you're aiming for. Exhale, let's bring the right hand and knee to the floor. And then we'll separate that right foot to uh, the edge of the mat or beyond. Left leg extends. Open up and take the left arm overhead. Supporting your own body weight can not only strengthen your muscles, but your bones. Exhale, release. All right. We're going to turn and send legs up the wall. If you scoot to the edge of your mat, kind of lifting a hip up the wall, lowering down to your side, it makes it easier to roll to your back and to lift the legs up. And then once you get into this position, make sure your legs are parallel. Your spine is relatively straight. And close and rest your eyes. We're going to move into some silence. Let's slide the right ankle just below the left knee. And then start to bend your left leg. Now, you may not go very far, and that's okay. And if you need to scoot back farther from the wall, you may. And then move back into some quietude. Maybe listen to the present storm brewing outside. Lifting the left foot, separating the right leg, and now crossing left ankle below the right knee, or below in this reference, but above the knee to the thigh from another reference. Lifting the right foot, separating the left away. Feel the difference. Notice what you've opened up energetically. Once that evens out, we're going to separate the legs into a wide V. If it's too much to do both legs at one time, you can always bring one foot down closer to the pubic bone and just do half, and then eventually do the other half. May need to take a few controlled breaths before it dissolves away into a natural breath. You've been holding one side, swap to the other. You've been holding both legs open. We're at the halfway point. Casually bend the knees and walk the feet towards you, but keep your thighs flopping open and out. It's kind of like happy baby pose, except we're not holding the feet. I like to call it tree frog. Now slip the feet together. Keep the knees fanned apart. So you're doing the butterfly. Turn the knees back into the chest. Lift the feet up the wall about halfway. Press into the wall with your feet. Tuck and lift your buttocks away from the ground so that your hands can support your hips. And then maybe walk the feet higher, coming into a restorative wall variation of shoulder stands, where the brunt of the weight is on the upper back and shoulders, less traction in the neck. Hold a few more breaths. Keep your head perfectly still and stationed in this one single place. So the chin remains in line with your chest. Now walk the feet back down. Bring your hands down and roll down one vertebra at a time, landing in legs up the wall. Close your eyes. We're going to take rest here. Go ahead and bend the knees. Roll to one side of the body to come up. To sit attentively. Bringing your hands to prayer. Hopefully you enjoy some increments of silence through this practice today. And I encourage you to practice silence every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Embrace and enjoy the silent moments where you can listen to the inner whispers of God. Namaste.